Right, big news coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden have had a talk on the Bangladesh crisis. Prime Minister Modi has put out a statement, and I quote from it. Stressed on the need for normalcy in Bangladesh, also discussed security of Hindus in Bangladesh. Remember, this is very significant. Recently, if you remember, Prime Minister Modi was in Ukraine with the ongoing war that is between Russia and Ukraine. And of course, USA has taken the side of Ukraine this time. But also in Bangladesh, where a lot of questions have been raised about USA as well. But Prime Minister Modi here saying there was a phone call, a conversation on the Bangladesh crisis, and also because India is a neighbor nation. Prime Minister Modi says, stressed on the need for normalcy in Bangladesh, discussed securities of Hindus in Bangladesh. Remember, this is very specific. Prime Minister Modi not mincing words here, very categorically stating that there was the mention of Hindus, and that means Hindu minority that has been at the receiving end of a lot of attacks which do appear to be specific, targeted attacks at Hindu minority, which has come down from about 22% to now 8% and reducing. And therefore, very categorically mentioning that to President Joe Biden to discuss the situation and also stressing on the need for normalcy in Bangladesh. This is very important, remember. What does it show? It is also about India and Prime Minister Modi also becoming a global player to be in part of the conversations that affect our neighbor nations. Joining me now is our Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan. Geeta, good morning. I would say, isn't it a very interesting conversation right now and very important as well, because this is also about India putting forth its view and possibly becoming a mediator in peace talks?
Well, two very important points over here. This conversation with President Biden comes right after President Prime Minister Modi's visit to Ukraine. And of course, while we've seen the reporting from Ukraine and the role that India could play, the unique position that India has vis-a-vis Ukraine and Russia, the conversation certainly about how India reiterated the need for peace and stability, something that India has done not just when Modi was in Russia with President Putin, but also during his visits to Ukraine. So yes, the conversations were on the situation on the ground in Ukraine, but also more importantly, the situation on the ground in Bangladesh, stressing the importance for safety and security of Hindus. Pooja, we just had an exclusive conversation with the Minority Affairs Minister of Bangladesh of the Indian government, assuring security, but in denial in many ways on the gravity of the situation in Bangladesh.
Thank you very much for now. Geeta Mohan will be tracking all the latest on that. Remember, it is also about India putting forth its position clear, and possibly because as we are friends to whether it's Ukraine, Russia, both, or even for Bangladesh as we are a neighbor nation, a lot is at stake, as much for India, and if India can become a mediator with peace talks. Thank you very much, Geeta Mohan, for the latest.